Good afternoon, this is a Tech Guru where we look at all things technical on this YouTube channel. Today we're going to be looking at the Roku 2XS streaming player. Now what we're going to do is talk about the main features of the product and how easy it is to set up, and then really sort of go on to demonstrate it being set up. So as you can see here, the main sort of components of the box are the box itself, just here, and then you've got the power lead, which is here. This is obviously for the UK, and then you've got comes with the remote control, as you can see here, and then there's also an HDMI cable. There is also the option of connecting wirelessly or with a LAN cable, so that's something else which is sort of a key part of it. But if we look at the box itself, you can see pretty small, lightweight. It's got a USB connection on the side of the box, which is really useful. But then if we sort of turn the box to the back, you can sort of see the components of it. So you've got an HDMI port there for your high definition connection to your sort of player, i.e. in our case a television. You also got an Ethernet cable port here, or a LAN port. Now we connect it through the sort of an Ethernet cable because we find it gives a sort of more reliable connection. But we have also had it working wirelessly as well, and it's pretty good, to be fair with you. You can also see on the back also you've got a DC in sort of port there. There's also a micro SD slot and also an AV out socket there, as you can see. And naturally, like a lot of products nowadays, there's also a reset button on there. So that's a quick overview of the box itself. As I said, you get a power lead, which plugs into the back of the player, just using sort of well, you can see the jack here, which is pretty popular. HDMI cable speaks for itself really, and also we've got the remote control. Now some players don't have a remote control, but I find this sort of having a remote control really useful. And in the back it takes sort of 2 AA batteries, easily slides off, as you can see here. Just bear with me. And then in the back, as you can see, you can sort of also see that sort of a reset button as well for the remote control if you do have any problems sort of connecting it to it communicating with the box. So that's an option as well. But so as you can see here, we've sort of got the main sort of 3 cables ready to connect. We've got the power lead here, okay. We've got the HDMI port there, and we've also got the Ethernet connection there. So what we'll do is we'll go on to demonstrate that in a moment. Okay, so as you can see here, I've plugged all the cables in. The power lead on the very left, the LAN cable sort of in the middle, the white cable, and then on the side we've got the HDMI lead. Now I never use the AV out option, but obviously that is an option depending on the equipment you're using in. But because we're using HDMI, we sort of get the sound anyway, so that there's no sort of real need for us to use this on this occasion. Okay, so what we've done is we've connected obviously the Roku player up, the Roku 2XS streaming box, and now it's asking us to get started. So what it's doing is asking for a language accordingly. Because we're in the UK, we're going to choose English, so we'll just do that. And in fact, before we do that, what we need to do is take off the back of the remote control, and then we just need to hold the button down for a few seconds. You press the button at the back, you'll get some flashing lights on the control, which means that it's ready. So once we've done that and we've selected the English language, basically it's now asking us to select the display type. So we can press OK to auto detect the best display solution, but what will happen is that we sort of can change that going forward as well. So just bear with me a second. Okay, so we've got a high definition television, and it's asking, shall we select it? Yes, the screen looks good, so we're going to select that. Now we need to activate the Roku. So what we need to do is we need to go on to a computer or a mobile device, and actually activate the Roku itself. So I'll demonstrate that in a moment. And once we've, just a matter of fact, and once we've sort of activated it, the screen will actually automatically update. So that's really useful. Okay, so as you can see here, I've gone to roku.com/link, as it says on the Roku 2XS streaming player. It then asks us to enter the code, which you can see on the TV screen, which is RPKH. So we'll do that now. So we've now put the code in. Obviously, there's terms and conditions or the license agreement, which there is to tick. So just have a quick read of that. And then what we'll do is we'll submit it. And do you have a Roku account? At that point, we can say, no, I need to create one. So obviously, if you've already got one, select yes, you've already got an account, and you can put your details in. But because we're using this for the first time, we're going to create an account. So I'll just fill the form in. If you complete all the information, go to the bottom and then sort of submit it, then it takes it from there. Okay, after we've entered all of our details, including a password, what we need to do is obviously check the boxes. It's asking if you're over 18. Obviously, you need to make sure you are to accept the conditions. The terms and conditions box, which needs ticking as well, so have a read over those before you agree it. And then obviously, if you want to receive news and special deals from Roku, and obviously you also need to say you're not a robot. So at that point, if we press continue, we then need to set up a PIN. Now with this, you need to set up a PIN, so you've got different options. So you can always require the PIN to make purchases and to add it to items from the channel store, or require a PIN to make purchases, or PIN is not required to make any purchase. So I'm going to select the top one because we have young children, but obviously it depends on your circumstances. And if we continue, okay, so once we've submitted the PIN information, it then asks for payment information. This is if sort of you want to buy a movie or sort of purchase any apps through the store itself. It's just to sort of to have some information there. That is part of this process where you have to provide credit card information. That's generally pretty standard nowadays. So obviously you need to complete that. Okay, so once you've entered your credit card details, press save and continue. Okay, so once we've put all those details in, we can add some channels to the account. And obviously, we can choose to keep what they've suggested, or we can sort of take them off by ticking the box. So I'm going to keep those. They're the most popular ones, to be fair with you. TV player is quite good. It's got sort of free, freeview channels, and I think there's some on-demand channels as well. And then there's some other ones as well. So I'm going to just make sure they're checked. Gives you a list of channels, which says if it's chargeable or free to install. It gives us a total amount there payable as well if we choose to install anything that costs. But with all these sort of free channels are the ones to start with. Well, that's where we're starting anyway. And then just click continue. So it then says we're done. So if you look on there, it's actually installing the channels. So we'll just let it do that. As you see, it's continuing to update the channels on there as well. So that's good. Depending on your broadband speed or internet speed, it might take a little bit of time, so just bear with it. And as I said, when doing this, you can do it through your phone, which I've just done, or you can do it through a computer, or other computer, or laptop or mobile device. Okay, so it's nearly coming to an end. Okay, so once the channels are added, it's all done, and it says that. If you press OK, it will then take you to the channels which it's installed, which you can see there. You can see that they're all installed. Obviously, we can add further ones. So if you go to home, you've got your channels there, and you can sort of look through them there. Okay. You've got a feed which you can sort of tailor going forward, so according to what you might like, etc. So you can tailor that as well. So it's just literally a case of scrolling right and left and using the OK button. You can search for a TV show, movie or an actor there, so that's really useful. You can also go to streaming channels there as well. So if you scroll right, that enables you to add or remove channels. And as you can see, if you scroll through, there's some by film and TV, by sort of area, or you can search your channels as well, or go by most popular. And when you look at the apps here, you can see if it's got a tick, that means it's installed, otherwise it's not. So we can do that as well. So it's just a case of going to it, clicking OK, add channels. Now we've obviously put a pin in here, and we've added the channel. So it's just basically say it's adding the channel. So then you can choose to go to the channel there. It tells you a bit more about it as well. You can remove it, you can view screenshots, or you can rate it. But if we just click go to channel, that'll take us into that. And obviously I do have an account, but we'll just choose to link that later. And then we can search sort of all the channels as well. So if we search for, I don't know, BBC channel, it will give us all of them there as well. Okay. I don't know, let's say Radio 2 for example, we can look at that. We can do that. And we can decide to play it. So that will play the channel as well. Okay. There you go. And that's a live channel, and I think there's some on-demand channels as well. So, okay, so if we come out of that, but if we go back to the remote control and just press the home button, so that's the sort of the feed, the search, the streaming channels, and obviously settings. You can look at networked. You can go for wired, which you've already got plugged in, or you can go for wireless, set that up as well. There's different themes you can have, like different colours, etc. So you can choose that as well. There's the option for a screensaver. There's a display type, as it's set up automatically earlier, 1080 HD, but obviously you can change that according to sort of the device you're running it on, or the TV. You can have captions. You can obviously pair the remote there as well, and it gives you an indicator of the battery level. Audio mode, again, different options there, so I could play around with that. Bit about the privacy and the terms and things. You can also have the option to limit ad tracking there, and the system, the time, etc. You look at USB media using obviously the side port. There's the option to control other devices, but I've never used that, to be fair with you, so I don't know much about it. You've got the options of different languages. You can update the system. You can do a restart. You can do a factory reset, even network connection reset, or you can sort of read about licenses. So that's a bit about the Roku 2XS player in a nutshell. Just one other thing to add actually on the remote control, if you press the star button, you can also move it around. So if you want to say put it there, for example, you can do that, or you can remove it, etc. So there's those options as well. And talking about the remote control, just bear with me. Just looking at that, you've obviously got the back button, which is used a lot, the home button, the up and down, the left and right buttons, the return button. You've got the OK button as well, which is often used. You've got the rewind, the fast forward, the play and the pause button in the middle. And there's also the A and B button options, which I believe is for gaming, but this isn't something which I've used, to be fair with you. So anyway, that's about it, to be fair with you, just on how to set up a Roku 2XS streaming player. Hope you enjoyed the video, hope it's been useful, and don't forget to subscribe to my YouTube channel. But for the time being, for now, thanks for watching, and catch you next time. Bye bye.